Lee Hyun looked out the small window of the transport ship as it moved toward the biggest space station he had ever seen. The Galactic Assembly Station was huge. It was so big that 3 Earth moons could fit inside it. The metal walls shined, with strange lights, and ships from different worlds flew around it like tiny insects. "First time seeing it?" asked Park Ji-won, sitting beside him. She was wearing her military uniform with neat pressed lines. Her dark eyes watched the station with careful attention. "Yes," Lee Hyun said. "It's bigger than I thought it would be." Kim Nari looked up from her datapad. She had been reading about alien species for the past 3 hours. The station is over 3,000 years old. They built it when the first 12 species made the assembly. Lee Hyun nodded. He was nervous but tried not to show it. Today was important. After 50 years of trying, humans finally got invited to join the Galactic Assembly. Earth's leaders picked him to speak for all humans. It was a big job. The transport ship moved closer to the station. Lee Hyun could see the docking bay. It was filled with ships he had never seen before. Some ships looked like giant flowers made of metal. Others looked like swimming fish with glass wings. Human ships looked simple next to them. "Remember what we talked about," Park Ji-won said quietly. "Stay calm, listen first, speak second." "I know," Lee Hyun said. He had been preparing for this day for 2 years. He knew the names of all 12 species. He knew their history. He knew their laws. But knowing about them and meeting them were different things. The ship docked with a soft bump. Lee Hyun stood up and checked his clothes one more time. He wore Earth's best formal suit. It was dark blue with small silver details. Park Ji-won and Kim Nari stood beside him. Behind them were 3 more humans. Kang Min-ho was their security officer. Yoon Dae-yoon was their legal expert. Oh Sung-jin was their technology specialist. The door opened with a hiss. Cool air rushed in. It smelled strange, like metal, and something else Lee Hyun could not name. A tall figure waited for them outside. It had gray skin that looked like stone. Its eyes were yellow and had no pupils. It wore long robes that moved even though there was no wind. "Welcome, humans," it said. Its voice was deep and slow. "I am Veltar of the Vorthak. I will take you to the assembly hall." Lee Hyun stepped forward. "Thank you for inviting us. I am Lee Hyun, Earth's ambassador." Veltar nodded once. "Follow me." They walked through long halls. The walls were covered with symbols that glowed softly. Other beings walked past them. Lee Hyun saw creatures with blue skin and gills on their necks. He saw beings made of what looked like living crystal. He saw insects that walked on 2 legs and wore clothes. "So many different species," Kim Nari whispered. 12 major species," Veltar said without turning around. "Many smaller ones, all living in peace for 3,000 years. They reached a huge door. It was as tall as a building and covered with metal patterns. The door opened without sound. Inside was the biggest room Lee Hyun had ever seen. The ceiling was so high he could not see it. Lights hung in the air without being attached to anything. Around the room were 12 large sections. Each section had seats for 1 species. The Vorthak section had stone chairs. The crystal beings sat on pillars of light. The fish-like creatures sat in tanks of water. In the center was a small platform with 6 chairs. "Your seats," Veltar said, pointing to the platform. Lee Hyun felt strange. The human section was much smaller than the others. It was in the center, but it felt like being on display. They sat down. Lee Hyun looked around the room. Hundreds of alien eyes looked back at him. Some were curious. Some looked bored. Some looked unfriendly. Veltar walked to a tall platform. "The assembly begins," his voice boomed through the room. "Today we welcome the species called humans." Lee Hyun stood up. He had practiced this speech many times. "Thank you for this honor. Humans are excited to join the galactic community. We bring our friendship, our knowledge, and our hope for peace." Veltar raised one hand. "Before you can join, there are things we must discuss." A new figure appeared on the platform. It looked like a giant insect with 4 arms. Its shell was black and shiny. This was a Krelin, Li Hyun remembered. Humans, the insect said in a voice like clicking metal. We have watched your species for 50 years. We have seen your wars. We have seen your weapons. We have seen how you treat your own planet. Li Hyun felt his heart beat faster. This was not going the way he expected. Another voice spoke. This one came from a creature that looked like it was made of water. Humans fight each other constantly. They destroy their environment. They create weapons of great power. Wait, Li Hyun said. Yes, we have had wars, but we have also had peace. We have made great art. We have explored space. We want to learn from you. Veltar opened a large book. After much discussion, the assembly has made a decision about humans. The room became very quiet. Li Hyun could hear his own breathing. Humans are too dangerous to join the assembly, Veltar said. You will be contained to your solar system. No human ships may leave. No human technology may spread. This is for the safety of the galaxy. Li Hyun felt like someone had hit him in the stomach. Contained? You mean imprisoned? Think of it as protection, said a voice from the crystal beings. Protection for you and for us. Park Ji-won started to stand up, but Li Hyun put his hand on her arm. Kang Min-ho's face was red with anger. Yoon Daeun was reading something quickly on her datapad. You invited us here to put us in a cage? Li Hyun asked. We invited you here to tell you our decision, Veltar said. The decision has been made. The vote was 11-0 with one abstention. Who abstained? Kim Nari asked. A small creature with big eyes and purple skin raised its hand. The Pixians do not vote on matters of war, it said in a tiny voice. Li Hyun looked around the room. Every species was watching him. Some looked satisfied, some looked sorry, but none of them looked like they would change their minds. He stood up slowly. His hands were shaking, but his voice was steady. We came here seeking friendship. We came here with open hearts and minds. We came here hoping to learn and to share. The room was still quiet. Instead, you offer us a cage, Li Hyun continued. You judge us for our past without seeing our future. You fear us without knowing us. Veltar's yellow eyes showed no emotion. The decision is final. Li Hyun looked at his team. Park Ji-won was ready to fight. Kang Min-ho looked like he wanted to break something, but Yoon Daeun was smiling slightly as she read her datapad. Oh Sung-jin was typing something quickly. Then we have nothing more to discuss here, Li Hyun said. He turned and walked toward the door. His team followed him. As they reached the exit, Li Hyun stopped and turned back. You made one mistake, he said loudly. His voice carried across the huge room. You should have asked us what we thought about your decision. The door closed behind them with a soft sound. But Li Hyun could still feel hundreds of alien eyes watching them leave. In the hallway, Park Ji-won grabbed his arm. What do we do now? Li Hyun's eyes were burning with controlled anger. Now we show them why they were right to fear us. Li Hyun did not sleep that night. He sat in his small room on the transport ship thinking. Park Ji-won found him there in the morning, still wearing his formal clothes from the day before. The assembly wants to meet again today, she said. They think we need time to accept their decision. Li Hyun smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Good. I have things to say to them too. 2 hours later, they were back in the assembly hall. This time, Li Hyun did not feel nervous. He felt angry, but it was a cold, controlled anger. Veltar stood at his platform again. Humans, we hope you have thought about our offer. Containment is not punishment, it is protection. Li Hyun stood up. We have thought about it. We have an answer. He walked to the center of the room. His footsteps echoed in the huge space. But first we have questions. The insect creature, General Zixthon, clicked his mandibles. You are not here to ask questions. You are here to accept our decision. Actually, Yoon Daeun said, standing up with her datapad, according to Assembly Law 347, any species has the right to present evidence before final judgment. The room became noisy. Alien voices spoke in languages Li Hyun did not understand. Veltar raised his hand for silence. Very well, present your evidence. Oh Sung-jin walked to the center carrying a small device. This is human technology, he said. It can translate any language in real time. It can also do other things. He pressed a button. Suddenly, holographic images appeared in the air above them. The images showed Earth from space, then cities, then factories. Your reports say human technology is primitive, Oh Sung-jin said. These images are from last week. Our fusion reactors produce more energy than your solar collectors. Our manufacturing plants build more ships per day than your best shipyards build per month. The crystal being called out. Impossible. Our scanners show human technology is centuries behind ours. Oh Sung-jin smiled. Your scanners see what we want them to see. More images appeared. These showed human ships, but they looked different from the simple transport that brought them here. These ships were sleek and fast with weapons that glowed with blue energy. For 3 years, human ships have been watching your borders. Oh Sung-jin continued. You never saw them because our stealth technology is better than your sensors. The room erupted in angry voices. Security guards stepped forward, but Lee Hyun raised his hand. We are not here to threaten anyone, he said loudly. We are here to correct your mistakes. Yoon Daeun activated another device. Suddenly, voices filled the room. They were speaking in alien languages, but the human translation device made them understandable. These are recordings of your private meetings, Yoon Daeun said. The meetings where you planned to attack Earth if we refused containment. Veltar's stone face showed surprise for the first time. How did you get those recordings? Your quantum encryption is very good, Oh Sung-jin said, but not perfect. Human computers broke your codes 2 years ago. A water creature spoke from its tank. You have been spying on us? You have been spying on us for 50 years, Park Ji-won said, standing up. You watched our wars. You watched our mistakes. But you never tried to help. You never tried to guide us. You just watched and judged. Kim Nari activated her own data pad. We studied your species too. Do you want to know what we learned? She did not wait for an answer. New images appeared in the air. They showed alien worlds, but something was wrong with them. The Vorthak have not built a new city in 800 years, Kim Nari said. The Krelans use the same weapons they used 1,000 years ago. The Delphians travel in ships their ancestors designed. She looked around the room. You have had peace for 3,000 years, but you have also had stagnation. You stopped growing. You stopped learning. You stopped dreaming. An angry clicking sound came from the Krelan section. We have perfect society. Why change what works? Because perfect societies die, Lee Hyun said. He walked closer to the alien sections. They become museum pieces, beautiful, preserved, and dead. Veltar stood up. His yellow eyes were angry. You dare to judge us? You who fight wars over pieces of land? You who poison your own world? Yes, we fight, Lee Hyun said. Yes, we make mistakes. But we also learn from them. We grow, we change, we become better. More images appeared. These showed human colonies, but not on Earth. They showed humans working alongside aliens Lee Hyun had never seen before. These are the species you ignore, Kim Nari said. The ones you call primitive or violent. We found them. We talked to them. We learned from them. A small purple creature squeaked from its section. The Thraxians are dangerous warriors. The Thraxians are excellent engineers, Oh Sung-jin said. They helped us design new ship engines. In exchange, we helped them build hospitals. The Corvin are criminals and thieves, called out a crystal being. The Corvin are the best miners in the galaxy, Park Ji-won said. They are mining asteroids for us right now. In exchange, we are building them new cities. Yoon Daeun pressed another button on her device. We have trade agreements with 47 species that are not in your assembly. Defense agreements with 23. Research partnerships with 61. The room was completely quiet now. Even the translator devices had stopped making noise. You thought you were containing us to our solar system, Lee Hyun said. But we left our solar system 70 years ago. We have been building colonies while you were watching Earth. Veltar's voice was very quiet. Where? Everywhere you are. Not, Li Hyun said. The galaxy is huge. The assembly controls maybe 10% of it. We claimed 15% for ourselves and our friends. Security alarms started ringing. Red lights flashed around the room. A voice spoke in the main, assembly language, then in others. 3 ships just appeared at our border, General Zixthon said, reading from a device. They are not responding to our signals. They are responding, Oh Sung-jin said. Just not to you. He spoke into a small device on his wrist. Seoul's Pride. This is Oh Sung-jin, status report, a voice answered, clear and loud. All systems normal, sir. 47 allied ships are with us. We are waiting for your orders. The alien security forces moved toward the human section, but they stopped when more alarms sounded. Ships at the north border too, someone called. Out. And the east border, and the south border. Li Hyun looked up at Veltar. We did not come here to fight. We came here to join you. But if you want to fight, we are ready. This is an act of war, General Zixthon clicked angrily. No, Yoon Daeun said, reading from her datapad. This is an act of diplomacy. According to your own laws, any species may bring defensive escorts to assembly meetings. You brought 3 ships, Veltar said. We brought 3 human ships, Li Hyun corrected. Our friends brought the others. Park Ji-won stood up. The Thraxians brought 12 ships. The Corvin brought 15. The Wanderers brought 20. All of them are here, because they want to see how you treat their new allies. The assembly members looked at each other. They were scared now. Li Hyun could see it. What do you want? Veltar asked. Li Hyun smiled. This time it was a real smile. We want the same thing we wanted yesterday. Recognition as equals, full assembly membership, and respect. And if we refuse? Li Hyun looked around the room one more time. At the species that had ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years, at the beings who thought they were so much better than humans. Then we will do what humans do best, he said. We will find another way. He turned to his team. We are leaving. Wait, Veltar called. We can discuss this. Li Hyun stopped at the door. Yesterday you could discuss it. Today you can only accept or refuse. You cannot threaten the assembly. We are not threatening anyone, Li Hyun said. We are simply telling you the truth. The galaxy is changing. You can change with it, or you can be left behind. The door opened, and the humans walked out. Behind them, the assembly hall filled with angry alien voices, all talking at once. In the hallway, Kim Nari asked, Do you think they will accept? Li Hyun shook his head. No, they are too proud and too scared. Then, what do we do? Li Hyun looked back at the huge door. We show them what happens when humans are done being patient. The assembly called for one more meeting. This time they said it would be the final meeting. Li Hyun agreed to come, but he brought someone new with him. Jang Woo-jin was Earth's top economist. He was a quiet man who smiled a lot, but his eyes were always thinking. He carried a small bag and looked like he was going to a normal business meeting. They will try to scare us, Park Ji-won said as they walked to the assembly hall. Let them try, Li Hyun said. When they entered the huge room, it felt different. The alien representatives looked angry and worried. Some sections had more guards than before. The Kreelan security forces were standing at attention with their weapons ready. Veltar did not waste time with polite words. Humans, you have one. Last chance to accept our containment offer. If you refuse, we will enforce it. General Zixthon stepped forward. Your ships at our borders will leave immediately, or they will be destroyed. Li Hyun nodded to Jang Woo-jin. The economist opened his bag and took out several small devices. He placed them on the table in front of their seats. Before we give you our answer, Jang Woo-jin said in his quiet voice, we want to show you something. The devices activated, and holographic displays filled the air above them. Numbers, charts, and graphs appeared in glowing colors. These are economic reports, Jang Woo-jin explained. They show the real state of the galaxy. The first chart showed trade routes. Lines of light connected different star systems, showing how goods moved through space. Assembly trade has not grown in 500 years, Jiang Wujin said. Your economy is completely stable. No growth, no change, no innovation. A Delphian representative spoke from its water tank. Stability is... Good growth causes problems, does it? Jiang Wujin pressed a button and new charts appeared. This shows human trade with non-assembly species in just the last 2 years. The numbers were huge. Human trade with the primitive species was already half the size of all assembly trade. Combined, impossible, called out a crystal being. Those species have nothing to trade. The Thraxians mine rare metals you did not know existed, Jiang Wujin said calmly. The Corvin have energy sources you never studied. The Wanderers know about star systems you never explored. Han Silgi stood up. She had been quiet during the other meetings, but now she activated her own device. This is a communication relay, she said. It can send messages instantly across the galaxy without using your quantum network. The assembly members looked confused. Their quantum network was supposed to be the only way to communicate across such distances. We built our own network, Han Silgi continued. It is faster than yours, more secure, and it reaches places you have never been. She pressed a button and voices filled the room. But these were not alien voices speaking unknown languages. These were human voices speaking from different star systems. This is New Sol Colony. Reporting all clear. This is Busan Station. Manufacturing proceeding normally. This is the exploration ship Inchin's Dream. We have found 3 new systems suitable for colonies. Veltar's stone face showed no emotion, but his yellow eyes were wide. How many colonies do you have? 47, Han Solgi said, with more being built every month. General Zixthon clicked his mandibles angrily. You were supposed to be contained to your solar system. You tried to contain us 50 years too late, Li Hyun said. We have been expanding since we first learned to build faster than light ships. Ryu Taihyung, the cultural expert, stood up next. He looked around the room at all the different species. We studied your societies, he said. Do you want to know what we learned? He did not wait for an answer. New images appeared in the air, showing alien cities and cultures. The Vorthak have not written new music in 600 years. The same songs, the same dances, the same art. Forever. The Krelin military uses tactics that are 800 years old. No new strategies, no new weapons, no new ideas. The Delphians still travel in ships their great-grandparents designed. They have not improved their technology in 1,000 years. He looked at each section of aliens. You call this perfection. We call it death. A crystal being spoke up. We have achieved harmony. Why change what works? Because the galaxy does not stand still, Ryu Taehyung said. New species appear. New challenges arise. New opportunities present themselves. If you do not grow, you die. Koji, the psychologist, activated her own device. Your telepaths tried to read our minds yesterday, she said to the Mirren section. They failed. Do you know why? The Mirrens were silent. They looked uncomfortable. Humans learned to shield our thoughts after studying your technology, Koji continued. We took your telepathic abilities and found ways to defend against them. Then we improved on them. She touched her temple and suddenly her voice was speaking inside the heads of every person in the room. We can do what you do, but better, her mental voice said. The Mirrens recoiled in shock. Their own telepaths were not strong enough to speak to an entire room at once. Alarms started ringing again. This time they were much louder. A security officer ran up to General Zixthon and whispered something in his ear. The general's compound. Eyes went wide. More ships are arriving, he announced. Hundreds of them. How many hundreds? Li Hyun asked calmly. 700 ships. Oh Sungjin spoke into his wrist device. Admiral Beck, please report. A woman's voice answered strong and clear. 600 allied ships in position. 100 human ships ready for orders. All systems green. The assembly members were talking loudly now. Some were shouting orders. Others were demanding explanations. Veltar raised his hand for silence. What is the meaning of this fleet? Insurance, Li Hyun said. We told you we made friends with species you ignored. They want to make sure their friends are treated fairly. This is an invasion force. No, Admiral Bayek's voice said through the speakers. This is a trade convoy. We are carrying gifts for our new assembly partners. What kind of gifts? Asked a nervous Delphian. Zhang Wujin smiled. Medical technology that can extend your lifespans by 200 years. Manufacturing systems that can build anything you can imagine. Energy sources that never run out. Knowledge. From 61 different species. The room became very quiet. Of course, Zhang Wujin continued. These gifts are only for friends, enemies get nothing. Li Hyun stood up and looked around the room. You have a choice to make. You can accept us as equals and receive these gifts. Or you can try to fight us and lose everything. You cannot threaten the assembly, General Zixthan shouted. We are not threatening anyone, Li Hyun said. We are offering you a chance to join the future instead of being left in the past. He walked toward the door, and his team followed. Wait, Veltar called. Where are you going? Li Hyun stopped and turned around. We are leaving your space. We tried to join your assembly, but you do not want us. That is fine. We will build our own future. You cannot just leave. Watch us, Park Ji-won said. As they reached the door, Li Hyun looked back one more time. The galaxy is bigger than your assembly. We found our own place in it. Our friends are waiting for us. The door closed behind them. In the hallway, they could hear alien voices shouting and arguing. Do you think they will follow us? Kim Nari asked. Li Hyun shook his head. They are too scared to fight and too proud to surrender. They will do nothing. And us? Li Hyun smiled as they walked toward their ship. We will do what humans always do. We will build something better. Behind them, the lights of the assembly station grew smaller and smaller. Ahead of them, 700 ships waited in the darkness of space. Admiral Bayek, Li Hyun said into his communicator. Set course for home, we have work to do. Understood, Ambassador. Welcome to the real galaxy. As their ship moved away from the assembly station, Li Hyun looked out the window one last time. The station was still huge and impressive, but it looked different now. It looked old and empty, like a museum piece floating in space. The galaxy was about to change, and the assembly was going to be left behind. 6 months had passed since the humans left the assembly station. Song Minji sat in her office on New Geneva Station, looking at reports that came from all over the galaxy. As Earth's new director of galactic affairs, she had the job of keeping track of everything humans were doing in space. The reports made her smile. Humans were busy. Director, her assistant said, walking into the office. The morning briefing is ready. Song Minji nodded and activated the holographic display in the center of the room. Images appeared in the air, showing star maps, ship movements, and colony reports. Show me the assembly response first, she said. The display changed to show assembly. Space. It looked exactly the same as it had 6 months ago. No new colonies, no new ships, no expansion at all. They are doing nothing, her assistant reported. Their ships patrol the same routes. Their colonies produce the same goods. Their leaders hold the same meetings. And their economy? Declining. Trade with non-assembly species has dropped by 30%. Several mining operations have shut down because their workers left to join human colonies. Song Minji nodded. The assembly was learning what happened when you stayed still while everyone else moved forward. Show me our expansion. The display changed to show human space. It looked completely different from 6 months ago. New colonies appeared as bright dots scattered across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. Trade routes connected them like a glowing web. 47 colonies are now fully operational, her assistant said. 15 more are under construction. We have established trade relationships with 112 species. Defense agreements? 63 species have signed mutual protection pacts. The Thraxians are building a fleet of ships using our technology. The Corvin have provided us with mining rights in 17 systems. The Wanderers are sharing their navigation data. Song Minji stood up and walked to the large window that looked out into space. She could see ships coming and going constantly. Human ships, Thraxian ships, Corvin mining vessels, and dozens of others she could not identify. Any problems with the assembly? They send scout ships to watch us sometimes, but they do not interfere. General Zixthon made a public speech last week calling us dangerous expansionists, but no assembly species have taken any action against us. A communication alert sounded. Song Minji pressed a button, and Admiral Lim Dongyun appeared as a hologram in the room. "Director," he said with a smile, "we have interesting news from the Rim territories." "What kind of news?" "My ship made contact with a species called the Altarians yesterday. They have been hiding from the assembly for 800 years. Song Minji raised her eyebrows. "Hiding? Why?" "The assembly tried to civilize them 3 centuries ago. The Altarians refused to give up their traditional ways of life, so the assembly declared them criminals. They have been living in hidden colonies ever since. And now? They want to join our coalition. They have technology the assembly never knew about. Advanced terraforming systems, weather control, even some early experiments with time manipulation." Song Minji felt excited. Every month humans discovered something new. Species that had been hiding, technologies that had been forgotten, entire regions of space that the assembly had never explored. "Accept their application," she said. "Send a diplomatic team to begin negotiations." Another alert sounded. This time it was Choi Min-hyuk, the chief engineer overseeing the construction projects in the Rim territories. "Director, I need to report our progress on the industrial stations." "Go ahead." Station Alpha is now producing ships faster than our entire Earth shipyards. Station Beta has begun manufacturing the new fusion reactors. Station Gamma is ready to start building the really big projects. "What big projects?" Choi Min-hyuk grinned. "We are building a Dyson sphere around the star in the Kepler system. It will generate enough energy to power 100 colonies. We are also constructing mobile space habitats that can house 10 million people each." Song Minji had to sit down. The scale of what humans were accomplishing was almost impossible to believe. "How long until the Dyson sphere is complete?" 18 months if the Corvin can provide enough raw materials. They say they can, but we will need to strip mine 6 asteroid belts. "Do it." Another communication came in. This one was from Nam Yeji, who ran the intelligence division. "Director, we have intercepted assembly communications. They are beginning to panic." "Show me." The holographic display changed to show recordings of assembly meetings. Song Minji could see Veltar and the other leaders arguing with each other. "They are losing colonies," Nam Yeji reported. "The Pixians announced last week that they are leaving the assembly to join our coalition. The Xenorians are considering the same thing. Even some Delphian colonies are asking about defecting." "Why are they leaving?" "Economic reasons mostly. Our colonies offer better trade terms, advanced technology, and opportunities for expansion. Assembly colonies are restricted to their assigned systems and cannot trade freely." Song Minji watched the recording of Veltar shouting at other assembly leaders. The stone-faced alien looked worried for the first time. "They are afraid," she realized. "Very afraid. Our intelligence suggests they are considering military action." "Against us?" "Against the defecting colonies. They want to make examples of species that try to leave the assembly." Song Minji felt anger rising in her chest. "That would be a mistake." "It would also be an opportunity," Nam Yeji said with a slight smile. "If the assembly attacks peaceful colonies, every neutral species in the galaxy will see who the real aggressors are." A new alert sounded. This one was priority level 1, which meant immediate attention was required. "Director," came a voice from the communication system. "This is Admiral Kwon Si-hyun. We have a situation developing in the Vega sector." Song Minji knew Admiral Kwon. He commanded the largest human fleet and was not easily worried. "What kind of situation?" "Assembly ships are moving toward the Pixian home system. 63 vessels, including their newest battleships. They are claiming the Pixians violated their treaty by joining our coalition. How long until they reach Pixian space?" 18 hours. Song Minji looked at the star map. The Pixian system was far from human space, but it was close to several coalition worlds. "What are our options?" We have 41 ships in the region. The Thraxians have 27, the Corvin have 15. If we combine our forces, we can match the assembly fleet. And if we lose? If we lose, every species in the galaxy will know that the coalition cannot protect its members. But if we win, every species will know that the assembly is not invincible. Song Minji finished. She thought about the choice. Humans had been avoiding direct conflict with the assembly, but this was different. This was about protecting their friends. Admiral, you have authorization to defend the Pixian system, but try to avoid shooting first. Understood, Director. We will be there in 16 hours. The communication ended and Song Minji stood alone in her office, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, two fleets were moving toward each other. Soon the galaxy would find out who really controlled its future. Her assistant came back into the room. Director, we are receiving messages from coalition members. They all want to know if we will really fight the assembly. Tell them yes, Song Minji said. Tell them the coalition protects its own. And if the assembly backs down? Song Minji smiled. They won't. They are too proud. But that is their problem, not ours. She turned back to the window. Ships were still moving in and out of the station, carrying goods and people to colonies across the galaxy. In 18 hours, some of those ships might be carrying weapons to a battle that would change everything. Contact Earth, she said. Tell them the real test is about to begin. 2 years had passed since the Battle of Pixian Space. Admiral Quan Si-hyun stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Soul's Revenge, looking at a sight that still amazed him. Over 300 ships flew in formation around his vessel. Human ships, Thraxian warships, Corvin mining vessels converted to carriers, Pixian scout ships, and dozens of others from species that had never worked together before. The battle had lasted only 6 hours. When the assembly fleet arrived at the Pixian system, they found coalition forces waiting for them. Admiral Quan had kept his promise to Song Minji. He had not fired first. The assembly ships had demanded the coalition forces leave, and Admiral Quan had politely refused. General Zixthan himself had commanded the assembly fleet. He had threatened, demanded, and finally ordered his ships to attack. The coalition forces had been ready. The assembly lost 41 ships that day. The coalition lost 7. More importantly, the assembly lost something they could never get back. The fear that had kept the galaxy under their control for 3,000 years. Now Admiral Quan was leading his fleet to Earth for a celebration. But more than that, he was bringing representatives from 86 species who wanted to join the Free Species Coalition. Admiral, his communication officer said, we are receiving a message from Earth. Put it through. Chancellor Shin Hyojin appeared as a hologram on the bridge. She had been elected as the first leader of the Coalition Council 6 months ago. She was young for such an important job, but she had proven herself wise and fair. Admiral Quan, she said with a smile. Welcome, home. Is everything ready for the ceremony? Yes, Chancellor. Representatives from all our member species are here. The new applications are prepared for review. Excellent. And our guest? Admiral Quan looked to the side of his bridge, where an unexpected figure stood watching the stars. It was Veltar, the former leader of the assembly. He is here, Admiral Quan said quietly. Veltar had arrived at Coalition space 3 weeks ago in a small, unmarked ship. He had requested a meeting with the Coalition leadership. He came alone, without guards or weapons, asking to speak about the future. The hologram of Chancellor Shin Hyojin nodded. Bring him to the council chambers. It is time for the galaxy to hear what the assembly has to say. 4 hours later, Admiral Quan stood in the great council chambers on Earth. The room was huge, but not as huge as the assembly hall had been. Instead of putting one species above the others, every member species had an equal section. Humans sat next to Thraxians, who sat next to Corvin, who sat next to Pixians. In the center was a speaking platform where any member could address the council. Today, it was occupied by someone who had never expected to be there. Veltar looked different than he had 2 years ago. His stone-like skin seemed more gray, and his yellow eyes showed an emotion Admiral Kwan had never seen before. Uncertainty. Members of the coalition, Veltar began, his deep voice carrying across the room. I come before you not as an enemy, but as someone who has learned a hard lesson. The room was completely silent. Representatives from dozens of species watched the former assembly leader. For 3,000 years, the assembly believed we were the guardians of galactic peace. We thought our way was the only way. We thought stability was more important than growth. He paused and looked around the room. We were wrong. Chancellor. Shin Hyojin stood up. What happened to the assembly? It is dying, Veltar said simply. Half of our member species have left to join you. Our trade has collapsed. Our colonies are requesting independence. We tried to hold the galaxy together through fear, but fear only works until someone is no longer afraid. Pyo Na-young, the coalition's chief diplomat, stood up. What do you want from us? The assembly has voted to dissolve itself, Veltar said, but we do not want our species to disappear. We request permission to join the coalition as individual members, not as the assembly. The room erupted in surprised voices. The assembly had ruled the galaxy for 3 millennia, and now they wanted to join the organization they had tried to contain. Admiral Kwan looked at the human section. Lee Hyun was there, now serving as the coalition's ambassador to Earth. Park Ji-won had become the coalition's military advisor. Kim Nari led the xenobiology research department. Lee Hyun stood up. Do you accept that all coalition members are equals? That no species is better than another? Yes, Veltar said. Do you accept that the galaxy belongs to all its inhabitants? Not just the strong? Yes. Do you accept that growth and change are necessary for survival? Veltar was quiet for a long moment. This is difficult for my people. We have believed in unchanging perfection for so long. But yes, we accept it. Chancellor Shin Hyojin looked around the room. The Coalition Council will vote on this application. But first, we have other business. She activated a holographic display that showed the entire galaxy. It was covered with thousands of lights, each representing a coalition world or member species. 2 years ago, humans left the assembly station in anger. Today, we lead a coalition of 112 species. We have explored regions of space the assembly never knew existed. We have made contact with civilizations they had written off as unworthy. The display zoomed in on the outer rim of the galaxy. Our exploration fleets have discovered something amazing. There are other galaxies out there with their own civilizations. Andromeda has sent us a message of greeting. They want to establish diplomatic relations. Admiral Kwan felt his heart race. The galaxy had seemed huge, but now they were talking about multiple galaxies. 3 colony ships will depart next month for Andromeda. Chancellor Shin Hyojin continued. They will carry volunteers from 23 species who want to explore beyond our galaxy. She looked at Veltar. This is what growth looks like. This is what happens when you do not try to contain the future. Yu Jinsol, the president of Earth, stood up. The vote on the assembly species applications will be held tomorrow. Tonight, we celebrate. As the council session ended, Admiral Kwan walked over to Veltar. The alien leader stood alone, looking lost. Are you all right? Admiral Kwan asked. Veltar's yellow eyes focused on him. I have spent my entire life believing that order and stability were the highest goals. Now I discover that chaos and change can create something beautiful. He gestured around the room, where humans, Thraxians, Corvin, and dozens of other species were talking and laughing together. How do you do it? How do you make so many different species work together? Admiral Kwan smiled. We do not try to make them the same. We let them be different, and we find ways for those differences to make us stronger. The assembly tried to make everyone follow the same rules. Rules are important, Admiral Kwan said, but they should serve the people, not the other way around. Later that night, Admiral Kwan stood on an observation deck looking out at Earth. The planet glowed with lights from cities and space elevators. Ships came and went constantly, carrying goods and people to every corner of the galaxy. Li Hyun joined him at the window. Do you ever think about that day at the assembly station? Li Hyun asked. Often, Admiral Kwan said. Do you regret how it ended? Li Hyun shook his head. No, they gave us exactly what we needed, a reason to prove them wrong. And now, we are going to Andromeda. The humans who fought to join one galaxy are going to explore another one entirely. Admiral Kwan laughed. The assembly was right about one thing. Humans are dangerous. Yes, Li Hyun said with a smile. We are dangerous to anyone who thinks the universe should stay the same forever. Above them, stars filled the sky. Some of why. Those stars were home to coalition worlds. Others were home to species they had not met yet. And beyond them, other galaxies waited to be explored. 3 months later, the colony ships departed for Andromeda. They carried 30,000 volunteers from 47 species. The Thraxians brought their mining expertise. The Corvin brought their energy technology. The humans brought their endless curiosity. The assembly species had been accepted into the coalition after promising to embrace change and growth. Veltar now served as an advisor, helping other rigid societies learn to adapt. As the ships disappeared into the darkness between galaxies, Chancellor Shin Hyojin stood in the council chambers addressing the assembled representatives. 2 years ago, the assembly tried to contain us because they feared what we might become. They were right to fear us. We became exactly what the galaxy needed. Proof that different species can work together, that growth is possible, and that the future belongs to those brave enough to reach for it. She looked around the room at the representatives of over 100 species. Today we take our first steps beyond this galaxy. Tomorrow we will explore the universe itself. And someday, when other species try to build walls and create limits, they will find us there, ready to show them that there is always another way. The council chamber erupted in cheers and applause from dozens of different species. Outside, the colony ships were already light years away, carrying the hopes and dreams of 100 worlds toward a new galaxy. The assembly had watched in terror as mankind stormed out of their meeting. Now the universe watched in wonder as humanity and their friends reached for the stars themselves.